You know, the way the Bible is written, it makes a lot of things look easy. It doesn't really record the mental and emotional stress that a lot of people went through. Now, imagine this: you and your two sons are outside working or doing whatever it is that you're doing. Then a strange guy just walks by and he points at them and say, "You, follow me." And they abandon you and follow the guy. I try to imagine what I would have done. I don't know what I would have done. Will I have gone to court? Will I have moved from one prayer mountain to the other because some dude just came and bewitched my children and took them away from me? That was what Zebedee experienced, right? So he was out fishing with his children, with his two sons, and Jesus walks by and just says, "Follow me." And they just take off with him. Similar thing happened to Peter in Matthew chapter 4. He just walks up and says, "You follow me and I'll make you fishers of men." And they do that. And that is a message for us today. Follow Jesus. And I know Sister Jessica is out there saying, "I'm following Jesus already." But then are you? Many of us think we are following Jesus, but that is not the case. We are just running away from hell. And running from hell is different from following after God. They might look the same, but they are actually different. One is inspired by fear, while the other is inspired by love. One will make you want to do just the minimum standard, while the other will push you overboard. It's kind of like a man and a woman. If you're not really in love with a woman but just fear losing her, it will make you do just enough to make her stay. But if you are in love with that woman, you will cross the oceans and scale the mountains just to make her feel special and make her feel loved. Because you see, reading not to fail and reading to be the best in class require different levels of commitment. So I ask you again, are you following Jesus or are you running from hell? How do you tell the difference between the two? Well, look at the kind of questions you ask yourself. Is alcohol a sin? Is masturbation a sin? Is pornography a sin? Is listening to secular music a sin? Where does the Bible say thou shalt not kiss and hug? What is the focus of all these questions? Sin. So the goal is not to sin so that you don't end up in hell. But if you're following Jesus, your question will be more like, what will Jesus do? I know it sounds old school, but it's true. Will Jesus masturbate? Will Jesus be taking alcohol? Will Jesus be buying tickets to a Zacchaeus concert? What is the focus of all those questions? Jesus. And I ask you now for the third time, Sister Jessica, are you following Jesus or are you running from hell? Now, the realization of this became a rude shock to me because I'm one of those people who got born again after watching one of those depictions of hell movie and listening to the testimonies of those that went to hell and came back. And I remember listening to one, and the woman was like, she went to hell and she saw this guy was in hell. No, she went to hell and she saw a pastor in hell, and the reason why he went to hell is because he borrowed a pen from one of his members and didn't give it back. How many of you have watched those kind of videos? And those kind of things make you just become afraid of hell rather than make you fall in love with God. Now, I understand why evangelists and preachers would like to use this tool as a means of evangelism, because hell is real. Will move people more than Jesus loves you. But you see, the man that responds to Jesus loves you will still be running after God long after the man that responded to hell is real has stopped becoming afraid of hell. To help us understand better, I'd like to make this illustration. Love and fear, it's like a car and a dog in a race. And at the beginning of the race, once they say go, the dog takes off and the car is accelerating. So within the first 30 seconds of the race, the dog is way ahead. But then give them 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. By 40 minutes, the car will be miles ahead of the dog. And that's how it is with love and fear. So when you preach fear to people, they become afraid. They just run immediately. And there is that push, that drive to want to just run after God. But they're not really running after God. They're running away from something. Now, when you run and run and run and realize the thing is not catching you, you begin to become less and less afraid of that thing. But then when you're falling in love with God and you begin to chase after him, you will chase and you will chase and you will never have enough of him. Why? Because your relationship with him is inspired by love and not necessarily fear. So please, preachers of the gospel and evangelists, which all of us are, right? Let us be preachers of love and not merchants of fear. Now, Matthew 4 tells us different reasons why people follow Jesus. While the likes of Peter and the sons of Zebedee were called and decided to follow him, when he started performing miracles, right, more people began to follow him according to the records of Matthew 4. In fact, at the point, about 5,000 men were following him. Now, the many that started following him after he performed the miracles were people that saw the benefits of following him and began to follow him. They were running from sickness, they were running from demonic possession. It says that, when they saw that he was performing miracles and healing and doing all that, they began to follow him. And that is the case with many of us today, right? Many of us are following God because of the things that we want from him, not because of the love that we have for him. Kind of like, people that enter relationships just because they have one or two things they want to gain, and after they get it, they're out. Jesus had thousands following him, but how many of them became fishers of men? That's because they were not really following him. They were following their needs. The same Matthew 4 also has the record of Jesus being tempted. And when he was hungry, the devil said, turn this stone into bread. And he says, no, man shall not live by bread alone. What he was trying to say is, man shall not live just to meet his needs alone, but to do what God asked him to do. So I ask you this question one more time. Are you following Jesus, or are you running from hell? Are you following Jesus, or are you chasing after your needs? And what is the action point for today? Don't run from hell. Follow Jesus. Because you can run from hell and miss Jesus, but you cannot follow Jesus and end up in hell. And that concludes Matthew Jesus Day 4. Tomorrow we'll be back with Day 5 when we read Matthew chapter 5. What is this challenge all about? Well, what we're trying to do is follow the life and sayings of Jesus through the month of March using the account of Matthew. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.